Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am Brother Minister Cepeda, bringing you guys another video. I always begin each video by encouraging you guys to visit my website at treelifeoutreach.com. This is a holistic ministry that is designed to provide nourishment and nutrition, high quality nourishment and nutrition, as a matter of fact, for your mind, your body, and your spirit. I seek to help you guys synthesize and balance these things and keep these things in a proper fluidity, if you will. As you know, if one or the other falls out of balance, then that can be disruptive to the entire body, to one's entire being. So visit the website at treelifeoutreach.com. Give me a call if you have, or text if you have any questions, or send me an email. And I'm just going to go right into the video. Today is May 30th, 2020. And I'm looking at everything that's going on, and I want to preface this by saying, hey man, listen, some of this stuff is actually just has to happen. You know, a woman has to go through birth pains in order to give birth. You know, you have to fall off that bike in order to learn how to ride it. You have to put in the work if you want to, get fit. You have to go to school if you're trying to get a specific education or diploma, whatever. So some of this stuff just has to happen. And just like all the other stuff that I just mentioned, these things they have a reward at the end of the day, but you just have to be willing to go through those pains. So I'll start by saying that. Having said that, some of this stuff is unnecessary. Some of this stuff is unnecessary. And we sit back and just allow it to happen as if, we're some cowards. Or if we are unlearned, we are, afraid to stand up and call one another to the carpet about some of this stuff. Now, the murder of that man, that brother, that human being, there's no words that can describe how wrong that was. And it calls for righteous retribution to be levied upon those who partook in it, individually, collectively, and there deserves to be righteous retribution for the systemic issues that have been deliberately set up to allow such things to take place to begin with. But then we have to ask ourselves, okay, what are these specific and very systemic patterns and strategies and tactics and institutions that have been specifically set up very intentionally to bring this to bear? And what I can tell you is, before we even broach that topic, is that the grocery market didn't have nothing to do with it. Okay? The shopping mall didn't have anything to do with it. The bike stores, the small businesses, they didn't have anything to do with it. So we have to call one another out to this fact that, man, this is a bunch of nonsense. It's a bunch of misplaced hate. And I am a black man. We want to be, technical about it. I'm a black Hispanic. But above and beyond, I'm a black man. And I come from the hood. I come from East St. Louis. You ain't familiar with it, then you don't know what a hood even is. So I don't just come from the hood. I come from the slums, the slummy part of the hood. So anything that anybody's feeling about vitriol, the word that's most commonly used is hate, hatred, frustration, all these things that any black man could ever feel about, towards the system, I feel it. I feel it. I had a mom, may peace and blessings be upon her, who worked all of her days, worked her fingers to the bone, raised her 5 kids, well, 7. She had 2 more when the elder 5 were grown. But so she raised her 7 kids and worked each and every day of her entire life, and then got to the point to where she became ill, and she went through her insurance and all that. But once her insurance was utilized, they basically put her in a whole different room or category, and all that high-tech treatment and all that round-the-clock service that she was getting was cut off. So you ain't sitting here looking at somebody who don't know what it feel like. I had a brother, may peace and blessings be upon him, my eldest brother, who from the very beginning, now me and the rest of my siblings, minus my younger sister and my 2 younger brothers. But out of the 5, the original 5 of us, and again, 5 of us were grown before my mom, peace and blessing be upon her, gave birth to a set of twin boys. But out of that original 5, 3 was living a lifestyle that was a lifestyle based on criminality. Once we became of age in our early teens and was able to run away and stuff like that, we lived a life based on criminality and corruption, dishonesty. My little sister, out of the original 5, she did not, just based on the fact that she did not. And my older brother, so 3 out of the 5, my brother who's older than me, my sister who's older than me, and myself, was out there just living in the streets. My mom, peace and blessings be upon her, and my dad, peace and blessings be upon him, worked their fingers to the bone to get us out the hood. They had quality jobs, particularly for being in the hood. And so to make the point about my eldest brother, he didn't partake in any of the criminality. He also worked. And pardon me if I'm misquoted, but there was 13 or 15 kids that he had. That's right, he fathered 13 or 15 kids. And even though he did not live the life based on criminality, obviously he was familiar with what criminality was. He was exposed to it his entire life because we lived in East St. Louis / East Boogie. And he got to the point to where he was, to make a long story short, he moved away to create an even better lifestyle for him and his kids. Then he moved back to try and help my mom out when she was getting sick. And then he decided that just wasn't working from a financial standpoint. So he, basically encouraged all of us to step up and do our job. And he was going to move back to the location where he, had better opportunities. Well, because he wasn't able to get a job and do what he wanted to do to get back to where he was going, he tried to make one illegal move. And when he went to make that move, he was killed. Now here's a man that was not out in the street and was just simply trying to make one move to get him and his family back to where he could go back to find a job, because he wasn't able to find a job in East Boogie, helping my mom. So he tried to make one move, forced as a black man, because there was no opportunity. This was a working guy, a hard-working guy, committed to working and living an upright life. And he went to make a move in the streets and was killed. Goofy ass clowns. Hopefully I don't get YouTube don't sanction my channel for that. But some clowns, some sucker niggas. He was killed by it. So I blame the system for that because he wasn't out there. He wasn't living that lifestyle, but because he couldn't find a job, even though he had always worked a job, and he was just trying to make a move to get himself back, him and his family back to where there was more opportunity. So I know what it feels to have to be disgruntled with the system, and that's putting it mildly. But for us to sit back and have this, this kindergarten approach, that's like getting mad at something that's going on outside your house and then going to the house and tearing up your whole house. How does that benefit you? You burning down and tearing down your own neighborhood. Yeah, I get it, you mad. Yeah, I get it, you pissed off. But there's no excuse for that, man. And some of us who are in a position to have platforms to speak out, I don't care what it is, pass out flyers. If you can't do that, you can say something to your homeboy when you're just walking by and seeing him at the liquor store or whatever, and the conversation break out. Yeah, that stuff is goofy, man. That stuff is goofy. You don't get mad at what's going on, and then go home and tear up all your stuff. Now, I'm not condoning violence, but I know how people feel, and they feel that violence is the only recourse. And sometimes, sometimes you have to tear stuff up. Sometimes anybody might get mad and, punch a wall or kick a hole in the floor or throw a glass, push a TV off the stand. Sometimes you have to release yourself in a way that may be an act of violence. But you don't go home and tear your stuff up. You can go to the gym and beat the brakes off that heavy bag. Whatever your thing is. You don't go home and tear your stuff up. You go out there and do something like kick the car tires because you're frustrated, and sometimes that frustration has to be presented in the form of violence. Go kick some tires. Go hit the heavy bag. There's other things that you can do to release that physical frustration. But whatever you do, you don't go home and tear your stuff up. Now, you walking around the same neighborhood that you live in, you burning down all your grocery stores. You burning down your shopping malls. You're destroying the banks. You're burning down the churches. This is your stuff. Not that you necessarily own it. That's a whole different topic. We know the financial lifeline is being sucked out of our communities. We know that. But that don't change the fact that you are in that community and you go to that grocery store to buy your eggs and bacon every day. Why are you tearing that up? There are more ways for us to release. There are more constructive ways for us to do some stuff, to vent, to stop just marching around in circles, begging these people to change something. I ain't met a slave yet that could beg his master into his freedom and then beg his master for his freedom and then get it. I never heard of that. So at some point, we do have to stop just marching around in circles and, we gonna protest. Protest ain't got us nowhere. Unless you're going to do some protests like MLK, where you just get with the masses and decide, you know what? We may feel like we want to express ourselves violently, but we're not going to do that. And we're not going to burn down our own stores, but we're going to get together in masses. And we're going to go just wherever y'all at, y'all workplaces, y'all restaurants, y'all places of leisure, wherever y'all go to school. And we're just going to take a Martin Luther King approach. We're just going to stand there and lay there to where we're going to block the entrances. We're going to shut y'all down. But we ain't going to use no violence. We don't need no violence. This is a new day and age, man. You don't need no violence. You want to move something, you got to be more calculative than good old-fashioned violence. Them people, man, to split your wig or to split our wig, that ain't nothing to them. Why do you think they pulled back? Why do you think the police and the National Guard and military police that they threatening to bring in, why do you think they just pulled back? You ain't never heard them running and abandoning no police station. When the last time you heard that? If you ain't old enough, ask your peeps, your grand peeps. Ask them when the last time they heard of that. So they to split our wig ain't nothing, and for them to abandon these locations and allow for this chaos to continue to grow and to consume, it's the good old fashioned, yeah, come on in, sure. Welcome to my den, said the spider to the fly. No, I'm not here to shoo you. I'm not here to shoo you away and puff out my chest and threaten you and do this. No, this time I want you to come right on in. So keep tearing up stuff. Keep breaking out stuff. That way, when I peel your muffin cap back blue, then a lot of people are going to say I was justified, because at the end of the day, that violence has to stop. It has to stop. And as black people, we need to get up and say that. We need to get up and say that. And never lose sight or focus of the fact that, it's a corrupt system that was built, founded, and constructed by corrupt people. No amount of begging and pleading and protesting in the world is going to change that. So we need to take bold, creative, sweeping changes. We gotta be thoughtful and creative, man. We can't just be out there on hooligan status. So this is crazy, man. Now, is this the collapse of America? Is this the collapse of America? Possibly. And I'm not talking about through no violent means, because trying to make a war against them people, man, it's a lot. It's about 3 to 5 categories less than ludicrous. So vision in your mind what it means to be ludicrous or ridiculous, and then take 3 to 5 steps down from that. We ain't in no shape, no kind of way to make war against this corrupt system from a physical, violent confrontation. Not from that type of standpoint, but we are in a position to come up with creative ways to say, hey man, listen, even if it's the good old-fashioned financial boycott, which the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and others have been calling on for years. How about that? Y'all gonna give us justice, or y'all ain't gonna get our dollars. It's that plain, it's that simple. And sit back, and I guarantee if you take that approach, within a week's time, I didn't say a week's time, I said within that, they'll be knocking and begging at our door. And when I say our doors, I'm talking about all of the have-nots. They'll be knocking at our door, begging and pleading. You don't have to be a Harvard grad oceanographer to figure this out. You don't have to be a YT grad specializing in theoretical mathematics to figure this out. There's a way for it to be done to where every poor person on this planet, every poor person, we're talking about in the United States right now, every poor person on the United States can have their daily requirements and needs met. Because there's enough of us who have enough to say, hey, we're not going to spend no money. And for those of us who, what little money they have, they can, they have to go buy eggs and milk. They're doing this stuff on a day-to-day basis, so they have to go to the store. It's enough of us to say, hey, we're going to funnel this money in to them so they don't have to spend no money either. And I guarantee you, it'd probably be closer to overnight. Because if you shut off that money to their system itself shuts off. And they know that. But whatever we decide, it starts by us calling people out boldly and not just seeing a video here or comment there. Well, black leaders who have the platform, who have the know-how to say, hey man, look, I sympathize and I empathize with y'all. I feel the same way. I'm not no let's stay inside the line type of dude. Go to treeoflifeoutreach.com, read my bio. And even though I've changed, I have not changed. Not who I am at my core, not who I am as a human being when it calls to standing up for something that's justice, that's righteous. I may have changed my ways in the way that I live my life, but I know who I am as a black man. And I know what the system has done to me and mine as black men and women and children. Not just in my own personal life and not just in today's society or the 20s and 30s and 60s, but all the way back. All the way back. So I know who I am as a black man. And what I'm saying is the pain, the hurt, the frustration, the need to express ourselves in a physical way, I get all of that. Because sometimes you can just say something to a person, and then at one point it might not matter if this person she could be your brother, it could be your boss, it could be the president of the United States. You just keep saying stuff, and you just keep keep, asking and begging and pleading and writing petitions, and all of a sudden you see, dude, you just hit him in the mouth. Period. And I don't know what's gonna happen after that. But no matter what happened, they're gonna say his teeth got knocked out. Whatever happened after that just happened. But I'm gonna pull his teeth. You're gonna pull his teeth. Sometimes we get to that point, and as human beings, that's a natural point to arrive at when you've constantly been picked on, put down, stumped on, pissed on, and a lot worse. It's just a natural course for a human being to finally say that's it. And I get that, man. But this ain't the way right here, man. This is ignorance wrapped in misguidedness being carried out in foolishness. That's what it is. Now, if there's anybody who know or who's willing to brainstorm with me or others like me, how can we express ourselves in a way that allow these people who are feeling the rage, and they have to release that rage? Because when you're in a rage, sometimes just sitting down writing a letter ain't gonna do it. When you're in a rage, sometimes just sitting down and taking deep breaths ain't gonna do it. When you're in a moment of rage, sometimes you have to express that rage. So I'm not saying let's not sit down and let's stop the physical activities to release this stress that we need to release. I'm saying let's channel it. Let's channel it. And we don't have to burn down anybody's shops or stores. And we can still express ourselves in a physical way that allows us to let these people know that we're serious, we've had it, and to get our point across, and to do it in a physical way that unloads the luggage that's associated with always being beat down and discouraged and pissed on and so forth. But we don't have to engage in that, and we certainly don't have to engage in burning down our own shops and stores. Now where are you going to get Jimmy's Pampers and diapers from? Now where are you going to get Crystal's new walking shoes from? So I mean, I get it. If that was an initial reaction, I get it. But it's been a few days now, and we have to be able to read the tea leaves and see that, hey man, that's a setup. You ain't never seen no police just stand back. So, in the interest of saving lives, you heard Trump say, when what he say? When they start the looting, start the shooting. Hint, hint. We're going to let y'all keep looting so that when we come through shooting, everybody going to say, well, man, look, man, they burned down this. They burned down 5-6 city blocks. Something had to be done. So I'm available, man, to talk about any constructive ways that we can get out there and handle this thing from all the different aspects, man. How can we come up with a constructive way to express ourselves from a physical standpoint, minus the violence, but yet do something that actually engages us from and allows us to express our sadness, our anger and frustration? How can we do that in a way that's going to cause us to, from a point that brings forth physicality? How can we do that? And we don't want to we through tearing down stores, that's done. We through calling ourselves, we through tearing and burning down our own neighborhoods, that's done. We're through calling ourselves being willing to go to war against these people. Currently, as I see it, that's dumb. We're in no way whatsoever to call ourselves going to war from a physical standpoint. And specifically, like now, this ain't it. Now, if they was just running in, they just started trying to take over, our neighborhoods and just killing us, then okay, then obviously, yeah, we would do what we need to do to protect ourselves. But we're not at that. We're talking about getting justice for this brother Floyd. May peace and blessings be upon him. And I definitely want to acknowledge my condolences to his family, to his loved ones, his friends, and all those who knew him that was affected by it, and as well as those who were affected by it and did not know him, those such as myself who just, agree that enough is enough. Something has to be done. So I want to acknowledge and send out my most sincerest condolences to the family. And again, all those, dear to him who didn't, not just on the outside being frustrated, but actually lost a loved one. My heart, my thoughts, my prayers goes out to you guys. And for those of us, man, who are creative thinkers, those of us who can see that this is a trap, this is a setup by the government, those of us who can see that it's foolishness for us to be tearing down stores that we need in our community, whether we like it or not. Currently, we are accustomed to having that store or those stores to get our things. So we're making it more difficult on ourselves. So we need to make sure that we are able to handle ourselves in a way that encompasses all of this information, and we can put forth some strategic, comprehensive, practical, and realistic strategies to move forward with getting some answers and getting some results. Where there's a will, there's a way. And what I'm saying is, we can express ourselves in a way that allows us to release our frustration through a physical means. Where there's a will, there's a way. We can come up with constructive ways for us to release ourselves and express our frustration through financial means, through social means. We're more powerful than excuse me. Oh, pardon me, guys. I apologize. We are more powerful than most of us can even imagine. And through social means, through financial means, through some constructive form of physicality without violence, we can get this done, man. But we've fallen back into a trap that can only cause things to work out in our disadvantage. So this is what I have, man. Is this the collapse of America? You know, the collapse of America has been predicted by even some of those who are in, that's a large part of what we would call the well-to-do societies, those on Wall Street and whatnot. The financial collapse has been predicted. Some have predicted, race wars being the end of America. The government fighting within its own self and people having no faith or confidence in the government. Just the biblical prophecies about the last days and what it would look like. All these different things have been predicted by all these different peoples, by these different people from all different backgrounds. So, is this the end of America? I mean, I don't know. I know that every ending brings with it a new beginning. I do know that. And I do know that if this is the end, then our actions, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our intentions is having a major impact on how this end unfolds. And we don't have to be afraid of it, guys. We don't have to be afraid if this is the end of America, if this is the end of money, if this is the end of all these different things. We don't have to be afraid of it. In fact, we should embrace it if that's what it is, and come up with constructive plans, solutions, and ideas of what we can do and what we can build and rise from those ashes. Countries are just like people, in that they're birthed, they grow up, they have a peak, they reach their peak, however long that peak lasts, and then they begin to decline. Same thing with humans. The same thing with our different weather patterns. The same thing with nations. There's no nation that's been around forever. Not even the Iraqis. And we know, that they are the remnants of a very vast and long-lived culture and nation. So the question is, guys, what are we going to do? I'm open, I'm available, I'm willing, I'm able, I'm enthusiastic about hearing from some of you guys, some thoughts, some ideas, and some of you guys are good thinkers. Some of you guys have incredible ideas on the table. You just need an outlet to express them, or you express them and no one really did anything with them. What can we do to not run from this, but to look at it holistically and organically and see what role are we playing in it? Because if it's the end of America, if it's the end of the days, if it's the end days period throughout the globe as the Bible predicted, whatever it is, there are some of us out there who have the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding, the charisma, the know-how, and we have the resources to help guide or to help determine or at least have some influence on how this thing ends and what we do next. So I'm not one who really gets off into checking the news every few hours or whatnot, because again, a lot of this stuff has just been predicted. A lot of this stuff is a part of a plan, a heavenly plan, and our Heavenly Father has a plan, and we know His adversary has a plan too. So a lot of this stuff has been planned, and I don't get off into it with regards to watching every minute of it and being affected by it from a negative standpoint. But I do like to spread the word on it and to encourage people to know, let's pay attention to what's going on in our world, and let's pay attention to the fact that we do have the opportunity and the obligation to put forth our imprint on it, to put forth our hand on it, so to speak. And that's whether this is just something that's coming and going, or whether it's something where this is really the end. There's a lot of things going on. You notice how all of a sudden you haven't heard anything about different wars and different possible attacks, this and all this different stuff, because the media is deciding. I wouldn't be surprised, because the media is deciding, what we first of all hear on the news and what we don't hear on the news. But I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden, once something calms down, then there's a big major war that has to pop off. So, for those of you who has the eyes to see, then let us see. For those of you who has the ears to hear, then let us hear. But we don't have these eyes and ears to hear and to see and not do anything about it, or just to hear and see. We are called to do something else. We are called to be on the front line of what happens next. Let thy kingdom come. His kingdom comes in you and me and people like us. So just sitting back on the sidelines praying. Praying is good. Meditation is good. It's always a starting place. But we're called to do more. We're called to take action. Whatever that action is for you, for me, we need to take it. And we need to be thoughtful in our approaches and our strategies and our tactics, and not just fall back into this caveman way of thinking, that violence is it. And to my brothers and sisters that's out there, that's frustrated, that's protesting, my thoughts, my prayers, my heart, and all clean intentions are with you. Excuse me. I apologize for that. my thoughts are with you, man. You guys stay safe, and then go within yourselves to realize, that what I'm saying is true. You don't get frustrated, no matter how frustrated, and go home and tear up your own house. Even though you may go there and throw a glass, break a glass, kick the TV over, punch the wall, kick a hole in the wall or something. That may be that, but you also pump the brakes and realize that you don't want to stay there. You don't want to kick the TV over and then throw the whatnot stand over and then break the lamp and then go break the mirror and then slam your glasses and your plates and silverware all over the place and then go rip up the mattress. You don't want to do that. You want to, if you took that action and caused some and did some damage to something that benefits you, then you want to pump the brakes as soon as possible and don't continue along that path. So that's what I have for you guys. Again, all my words that I say to you guys are truth, and all of my words that I live by. I live as truthful as I can. To me, the information, the knowledge, the guidance in which I'm called to be, and I encourage you guys to do the same. And if you go in your heart, some of us don't really even have to go in our heart. We just know automatically. Yeah, there has to be a better way. And even though sometimes a person needs to express their vent from a physical standpoint, there's a better way. So like, comment, subscribe, and then read the information on the website. Be encouraged about the bio. Familiarize yourself with the services, and if you know of anyone who can benefit from such services, my contact information is there as well. So thanks, guys. I end my videos all the same, just like I start each and every last one the same, to glorify my Father who has sent me, and who continues to guide me and protect me and provide for me. That's the purpose of me sending you guys to the website, and this is the purpose of me glorifying Him with regards to how I've been called to live and how I've been called to encourage others to live. So the ending is always the same too, and that is, if you are feeling bad, I challenge you to go out and make someone else feel good. And then I promise you, the moment you make someone else feel good, you're going to automatically feel good. That's the key, guys. That's the key. If you're feeling bad, go make somebody else feel good, and you'll feel better. If you're already feeling good, and you go make somebody who's feeling bad feel good, then you'll just go from feeling good to feeling phenomenal. And I do promise that. That's just the way this thing works, guys. That's just the way this thing works. So I love y'all. Thanks again for watching the video. Stay strong, stay safe, and no matter what happens, continue to enjoy each and every minute, each and every moment of your life. Be grateful for what you have and focus on that, knowing that the ship may be tossed to and fro, even if that is the end, even if it's just something we're going through, whatever. Be in the storm, realize that you're in the storm, but don't allow the storm to get in you. Keep loving your wives, your husbands, your kids, doing everything you can to be respectful, kind, and courteous to your neighbors and each and every person that you come across. Just start off with that clean heart intention that you're grateful and you want to encourage somebody, you want to help somebody, and if they don't want it, they're not into that, then that's their business, but you would have done your job, okay? So thanks again, guys. Have a beautiful and empowering day. Bye now.